Uh-oh.
They do move in herds. They're moving in herds. No, it's got to be this. Like, be looking this way. Be looking this way.
I just don't understand.
Yeah!
You son of a bitch did it. He did it. Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining in on that bit. I appreciate it. That made it more legit.
I have a note.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Which is what?
Calm down,
Which is
boy.
what?
I have a note. You have to take it off and then do the second hand. Like you take it
All
and
right,
then.
let's take that again.
Oh.
Here we go. He doesn't have the hat.
Two hands. You have to use
He
two
doesn't
hands.
have the hat. He's kind of where
Oh, he
his
takes
hair's
the
a
hat
little
off first.
disheveled.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it's.
Welcome to Alpha Book Club.
This is no good. Hang on. No, we're going to take this again. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay. And then.
What?
Stop looking at that plant. Look at that brontosaurus.
Yeah.
It's a dinosaur. That's a dinosaur. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Alpha Book Club. This is the world's best online interactive book club that you can join anywhere with internet access. I am your Cretaceous host, Hector Navarro. As always, I'm joined by Geek Bomb's Maude Garrett.
Woo!
So hold on. I'm just gonna. Which way is it going? It's gonna go down. Alan, look at this.
Oh, yeah, right. Alan, look at this. Get out of here. Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, Rachel Hine is nursing some compy wounds. So joining me tonight is Nerdist's own Amy Vorpahl. Amy.
Woo! From a different movie.
From Jurassic World.
Oh, getting stuff done.
You gotta show the heels. Show the heels.
And running them.
Bryce Dallas Howard, baby.
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
And then you say, "What's that supposed to mean?" And I'm like, "I'm ready to go."
Welcome to the Alpha community. Hi, everybody. We're so excited to wrap up another read with you and see what you thought in the chat tonight. And a reminder, if you have got a friend who would love ABC, tell them to use a promo code PADFOOT, that's from Harry Potter, to get 60 free days on Alpha. So Hector looks good, but Maude is spot on. I know, that's why we agreed to do this, because Maude was like, oh, I'm going to nail this.
Nail it! Like your face is her face.
Yeah, your face is her face.
Well, get away from that. You're beautiful.
You know, she is like really kind of like always chipping in a little bit. I don't know. I watched it literally about 40 minutes ago.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Getting the character, yeah.
Finished it, and I was kind of watching all of her mannerisms, and she's always.
She's so great.
Yeah, well.
How old was she filmed it? Like 23, 24?
No, so I looked this up as well because I was so
25?
intrigued. Laura Dern was 26 years of age when she played Dr. Ellie Sattler, and Alan Grant, Dr. Alan Grant, Sam Neill was 46.
20 years her senior.
That's how they did it in the 90s, though.
That's how they still do it today.
Kind of, not super old. Okay, I won't say 43 is super old, but older, middle-aged.
20 years.
And then the woman, barely an adult.
Yeah.
That's it. In the book, though, they are not together.
And despite that age difference, I prefer Dr. Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler to be a thing. I like that take on their relationship more than I felt like it was lacking.
I was like, before I'd just seen the movie, if you were like, are they together? I'd be like, I don't know. I think they're friends.
Right.
They have like no.
Yeah. No, yeah, the book doesn't need it because the thing about novels though is you do get so much internal stuff going on with the characters that fills out the characters. And in film, you just you can't. Like there's no way. So one way to solve that is to put a romance there. And then you whenever they look at each other, you know exactly what's happening and you can like fill in the internal stuff yourself.
Yeah, I just didn't think that they looked like they were together. There's one moment where she runs and jumps and wraps her legs around him, and that's kind of it.
There's certainly not a whole heck of a lot of chemistry there, which is why when you get to Jurassic Park 3, it makes sense that they didn't end up together. She got married and had kids with somebody else.
It tricks you at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because you see him playing with the kid, and she's like, "All right, Alan, enough of that." And I just recently watched it.
That's right. You watched all of them. That's
I
right.
did. I watched all of them, or else I would not have remembered that. But I was thinking because I remembered. I was like, "They're not together. They're not. Wait, they're together. Oh shit! I was wrong this whole time." But the movie tricked you.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm never watching that. Well, not anytime soon. Anyway, I'm going to put my gloves on. Let's dig into this big pile of shit.
Oh no!
It's not shit at all. I just wanted to quote every part of the movie that I possibly can.
Let's finish Jurassic Park. Previously on Jurassic Park, Lex, Tim, and Alan see the T-Rex sleeping. They end up in the water on a raft, and Alan shoots the T-Rex with a tranquilizer dart. And let's talk about this sequence real quick, because this is a sort of previously on. We talked a little bit about it last week, how it was it turned into the Universal Studios ride, the fact that there's like a water raft segment, and there wasn't one in the movie. And I don't remember if anybody knows if it was ever like intended to be in the movie or why the sequence was cut from the movie. It was.
But they put it in.
They shot it?
Yeah. They did?
With the T-Rex swimming?
And they got continuity from that?
I don't know if it was swimming, but definitely chasing them in the water.
Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's then they got continuity.
Well, when you think about it as well, like there was rain. There was a storm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
I'm so distracted looking.
I think that it's just looking at yourself.
Yes.
Maude, you're very impressed with yourself, aren't
I
you?
know, you look just like her. I'm happy to comment on your amazing cosplay, like however many times you want to do it.
I was this for Halloween.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
And you even did the Laura Dern impression to Laura Dern herself. Let's see the face. We got. Do you need to walk off and then come back into the chair to do it?
Yes, but I also need to remove my shirt.
You need to remove your shirt?
Yeah, because it's the different part of the scene.
It's fine. We can use our imagination. We can use our imagination.
Not right
No, because
now.
it'll show up as a GIF and she'll be like, it's not authentic, but I know it's not authentic.
Just the face.
Internet won't know, though.
I just want to see you do the face. There it is. Look at that. Alan? That's really good. That's really good. Yeah, she's great. Okay, and then this is what happens last time. Ellie and Malcolm have the could-should discussion. Like, it was different in the book than it was in the film. Do you guys like how this played out in the book? Where Dr. Ian Malcolm, after recovering from his injuries on the bed, then he has the speech of, you were too concerned with whether you could do something, you never asked yourself if you should.
And
as opposed to having that at the
conference
in the little dinner table,
I like everything that they did in the movie. I think was a brilliant choice.
I agree.
Oh my gosh, did I not know that Dr. Ian Malcolm would literally lecture you while he's dying? His last breaths alive
coming back
is to just spiel.
And they're like, well, what do you suggest, Ian?
He dies with a smile on his face because he's like, gave the best lecture of my life.
They're like, Ian, give us a solution. And he's like, solution. And then it's like, what a dick. Come on. Don't do that. Yeah. Oh, boy. All right. Now that we've finished the book, what did you guys think overall?
This is a brilliant fucking book.
Yeah, it is.
This is so well written. The dialogue is out of control. You have more liberties with dialogue in books because you can go on monologue spiels. But they got, and then they pulled the exact right like themes and tones and cool lines from the book into the movie, just with fewer words, I guess. But yeah, this was so well written. The one thing at the end in this chapter, which we'll probably get into, was when they were like, oh, is everyone okay? Everyone's fine. Oh, Hammond is actually fine. Fuck it. No, he's not. Like within 2 paragraphs, he's like, la la, ah! dead.
Yeah.
Like he was fine.
Yeah.
I imagine that was like an editor note. Can he die?
Yeah.
I don't know. I imagine it felt like a Michael Crichton just kind of like finally getting his revenge. He inserts himself into the story as Dr. Ian Malcolm, and he's like, well, Ian has to die because woe is me and my intelligence and knowing about morality and science and technology. This character will have to die, and he will be kind of like a martyr. But Hammond, on the other hand,
way.
Yes, but Hammond, on the other hand, I hate Hammond, and I've hated him since the beginning, and I made him an evil Walt Disney. So yeah, he's going to get killed by compies. Because
That's
he deserves
in the worst way.
In the worst way, he deserves to die.
That is probably one of the worst ways to go. I mean, it was very euphoric for him.
Well, yeah, but as a coward, basically, like where he didn't, not screaming and fighting.
Exactly.
Just taking it one little bite at a time.
I felt like it was a little bit like, all right, Michael Crichton, like we get it. You don't like this Hammond character or idea, like we get it.
Even the way the characters refer to it, they're like, I don't, compies got him.
Whatever.
They got him, so we're moving on. Right?
Yeah, there's like a big chunk of him still there, but we're not going to bring the body back.
Yeah.
Boy.
That was his fate.
Yeah.
This is karma.
I felt overall, I'm right there with the chat. How many stars did you give Jurassic Park overall? I'm going to give it 4 stars.
The book?
I guess 4.5. Yeah, the book.
5 stars.
5 is great.
Absolutely
5 is. I keep going off of the Goodreads rating system, which I have the most items on Goodreads. It's not a competition, but 5 stars is it was amazing. 4 stars is really low. You okay? What was that? Did you just burp in my?
Wait, have you checked out my Goodreads?
No,
because I've been on Goodreads since like high school.
Since like 2007.
So I don't.
How many items do you have on there?
I
read comic books that take me 40 minutes to read. That's true. That's how you use it. That's right.
Okay.
I use books very well. I give it 4 stars.
I 4 stars. I want to talk about like everyone is weighing in on Hammond basically in the chat at the moment, just how contrasting Hammond is in the movie than he is to the book. And last week, we actually, Amy, we were talking about, is Hammond a villain? And I was like vehemently like, no, he's not a villain. He's just a guy who, you know, has an idea and money. And is he stupid and ignorant? Sure, but does that make him a villain?
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely argue he's
We're talking
villain.
about Book Hammond right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Villain.
And last week
central.
I didn't think so. I was like, no, they've obviously pitched the T-Rex as the villain. It's like the Jaws effect. It's the da-da, you know.
Man versus nature.
And then it's honestly after this last part,
it
was he just refused to listen.
Yeah.
And he
or
just
take any blame or responsibility. That's that last thing where he was like, "Oh, I hired the wrong people. I'll do better next time." That line was like,
next time.
Yeah, he was not going to lie down.
But he said, you know, what's the iconic line that he says like 19 times? We spared no
expense.
Exactly.
That's right.
No expense.
And that's an expense of people's lives.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah. So you landed on he's evil. How do you feel about his death?
I actually do think that he is a villain and the death is the karma. It's like, this is what you created, and what you created is going to destroy you. And that's exactly what happened. I don't think that Ian Malcolm had to die.
Sure.
But he was in, like, him and Lexi in this last part were white knuckling infuriating. It was just like, stop screaming, stop wailing, stop repeating yourself, stop talking for 4 hours about being right.
Yeah.
It's like,
But I love that Hammond's point of view about Malcolm dying. That to me was worth Malcolm dying, because Hammond's like, God damn it, if he dies, I hate him. It would be better if he was a friend of mine, but he's an enemy of mine, and that would be the last like nail in the coffin, is if Malcolm dies on this, and then he does, and it's like, haha, get fucked, Hammond.
Yeah, he kind of lost it all. But people in the chat saying, you know what, in the movie he is willing to shut down the entire park, and you know, Alan's final words basically to him were like, I'm sorry, you know, Mr. Hammond, I'm not going to endorse your park. And he goes, neither am I.
No,
right.
This is what like, to me, Jurassic Park is deciding if dinosaurs are animals, monsters, weapons, or capital, if they're money. And Hammond represents money, like that, and that's it. And to me, that is totally the wrong argument, and for that reason, like, totally flawed, like zero anything like reputable about that argument and that point of view. So I think for that reason, Hammond is for sure a villain. Whereas the other ones, you could actually argue for, minus the like using
what were
weapons.
they again? Because that's a fascinating breakdown of the dinosaurs.
If they're animals, like just nature, just fucking doing their thing.
Which is what I think is in Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park, if they're money, which is what Hammond said, and then if they're weapons or...
And that's what this recent movie is.
Monsters or weapons. Yeah, weapons is the most recent one.
Weapon, yeah.
But weapons are like, oh, this is a tool. Monsters are like, it's just different because they're doing the evil themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
They themselves are evil.
Yeah, are they tools
nature.
or just, yeah.
I'm trying to look for the part in the back of the book where...
Oh, people say he's not a villain.
He
Hammond
is the
isn't a
bad
villain,
guy.
not
Technically, just like Alpha Book Club has the nicest chat in the whole world.
I know.
So of course, I think of anyone in the whole world who doesn't think Hammond's a villain, it might be Alpha Chat.
But also, they are so wonderful by disagreeing in the most intelligent and like, polite way ever, which is just lovely. I do like a cat who games that said Lex is the poster child for contraception.
Well, in the book, but they made her effing cool. They did cool her up.
Thank
for
God.
the movie.
Can you imagine if she was just screaming?
She's the computer.
Mind you, there is an infuriating moment in that scene in the movie where poor Dr. Ellie Sattler is trying to get the gun, and both of them have to hold the door to stop the bullet.
And Tim is the one that's on
and he's like,
the chair, like, because he's freaking out. It was great. It was
it's
great.
like,
I love
just
it.
run and get the gun, you little shit.
But like, he's a little kid in a traumatic situation.
I have to stop saying little shit.
No, that's why you keep saying little shit. It's fine. You know, that's fine. But I love that moment, and I feel like that's what Michael Crichton's trying to do with the character of Lex throughout the whole thing. Like, here's a little girl, little kid.
Yeah.
We're used to seeing Lex as in the movies, like, what, like 11, 12 years old, 13 years old?
Not 8.
Not 8.
Yeah.
8 or younger. And so I feel like Crichton's trying to give us a child who, like, doesn't know what the hell's going on throughout the whole book.
Which is a good foil to Hammond's plan, for sure.
It's just that as an adult, you're like, oh boy. Like, it's eye-rollingly annoying.
Also,
Yeah, because
in
it
the book,
doesn't...
still isn't Lex older than Timmy?
No.
Because she...
No.
Lex is younger?
Lex is 8,
Yes.
Timmy's 12.
Timmy's 12.
Got
you see?
it.
So again,
this
so it's
whole time I was like,
oh,
aminals?
yeah.
Aminals?
Yeah. But now I don't think I don't think that Michael Crichton. That's a perfect example.
With a guy
who said aminal.
No, we went to his
Jesus
apartment.
Christ.
No, we started at his apartment. We were going to go to the bar, and then he was like, "Or we could get some."
Especially.
Or we could. No, this is what he said. It's worse. He said,
I want to keep guessing and interrupt your story.
But by the way, after this, I
Supposedly?
stayed in his apartment for 15 minutes and told him I was tired.
Specifically?
No, worse, guys, the worst. More like aminals down that track. He goes, we could go to the bar or we could go to a restaurant. Baby hungry? And I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He asked you a question and said, baby hungry?
Yes. And I stand.
Amy,
I know.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that you have.
Run! I did. I was like, well, let's just hang out here and see what. It's your apartment. Actually, I'm really.
Baby tired.
Baby sleepy. So anyway, aminals got me a little right.
Yeah. Now see, here's the thing. It's like Michael Crichton's attempting to do like a little child in peril, which is not a bad idea. Again, Steven Spielberg did it masterfully in Jurassic Park, but the problem is he writes Lex not the best way. Like it doesn't seem genuine because he made her say aminals, and it feels like I don't know if Michael Crichton had kids. I don't know if it just doesn't feel genuine.
I could see it reverting back because he is a doctor, right? So you can't.
Crichton?
Yeah, he's a doctor. He was a doctor before he was a novelist.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's a scientist.
ER, that's right, ER.
I think
created
scientifically, like you could revert back to an earlier stage of yourself in a traumatic experience. So I could see that argument. It just annoyed the fuck out of me.
No, it's just it was not great.
People weighing in on the changing of the ages. Thrash Odin said, "Yeah, I'm so glad that they turned Lex into a dimensional young woman. She's a vegetarian for moral reasons and also interested in STEM." And then a cat who games a little bit up in the chat. Was saying, that Michael Crichton definitely made Lex into a realistic young child.
Sure.
And she just happened to be annoying as shit. But it turns out that this person doesn't like kids, so they probably hit the nail on the head by getting that reaction. I was trying to read the quote.
Got it.
Something along those lines. It's like, could Michael Crichton have done a better job of writing the character of Lex so that you feel the peril and you're worried? Like, you guys saw the movie Logan?
Yeah.
The first time Daphne Keene's character, Laura, jumps into a fight, I was not like, yeah, X-23. Like, I was like, no, she's a child.
Yeah.
No, peril. She's in peril. Like, she's gonna get hurt, or she can, that's bad.
You want to protect her.
It's so tough to get that feeling when you're reading a book.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's way easier to do it in a movie. I can't. I mean, I haven't read enough books. I can't think of an example of a good one.
It happens. Different authors do, but they'll remind you how old the person is, or with different ways. Like, his graying hair to this. Like, I think constantly they're reminding you, like, Hammond's kind of a wee little leprechaun.
Sure.
But we never got reminded that Tim and Lex are children.
No fault of Michael Crichton's. The movie changed the world and imprinted itself on an entire generation. So again, people are going to go see this movie. If they go back to visit this book afterwards, the book needs to struggle against that a little bit. It needs to be like, look, we need to remind you, Lex and Tim are swapped ages.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even retain that, while reading the thing.
Because we did read it over the course of a month, which is never how I read books. I read them
immediately. I read them over a month.
Cover to cover. But like I told you, it's hard for me to retain like what happened. So there were I read stuff in between, and in between I also saw the movie, and then I was like, oh yes, this is Lex. She's 12 or 13 or whatever. But
she's wailing.
So
after reading the book though, we already knew that Jeff Goldblum did the best job ever, but after reading the book, he really did.
But it made him likable and it made him palatable.
Yeah.
Like Ian Malcolm in here is really quite tough. He's making incredible points.
Yes.
But he's talking like it is not quality over quantity. It is just a whole lot.
Right.
It's a lot.
And also his whole stream of consciousness is bad, no, negative, John Hammond, shut up.
No solution.
No, just
so
like.
is this what you're trying to say?
Yeah,
no, not at all.
Shit's gonna get fucked. And there's no, there's exactly. He's not like giving any constructive criticism.
He's
just like,
you messed up. What is your point?
Yeah.
You are talking so much to not have a point right now.
Right.
So
right.
just like, Oh, and one last thing. Like, I think that was in the
Also-
book, and I was just like, stop.
Also, the character Arnold, Crichton wrote Westworld too, and so Arnold to me, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, like Arnold. I don't know. I just had seen Westworld,
The park
and so every time
manager.
I'm like seeing Arnold, I'm like, oh, like you just don't see that name very often. I'm like Arnold. Oh, it's the same author. Arnold and Bernard.
What is that in
Arnold,
Westworld?
In
It's
Westworld,
one of the.
it's the lead character. It's the lead. It's the original.
Which actor? Anthony Hopkins?
No, the black guy. I don't know his name, but
Alderman.
Bernard is the prototype, the host prototype
follow him on
of
Twitter.
Arnold.
Why am I blanking on him? He played Felix in Casino Royale. He is
He's
a phenomenal actor.
He's a phenomenal actor, and I don't know his name.
Oh my gosh!
My nose is blocked.
Oh no!
Is it?
What is the
Wait,
actor's
A
name?
little bit. I might be like that, was a veggie eater? What are they called? Vegisaurus?
Vegemite is what you're thinking of.
Nope, it's definitely not. The Vegisaurus. The Vegisaurus. You know when they're in the trees?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, it's a Vegisaur, it's a Vegisaur. And then
Yeah.
sneezes. Yeah, I'm about,
Oh, gotcha.
I'm about to do that. If
There,
you guys want to see.
I get the
Jeffrey
reference
Wright.
now. Jeffrey
Jeffrey Wright
Wright
plays Arnold.
He plays
in the
Arnold
show?
/ Bernard. It's the same.
That's right.
It's the same.
Arnold Bernard.
It's not the same thing,
Yeah,
but it's kind of
that
the same person.
could have been a Crichton.
It's not spoilers. Everyone
Huh?
knows this now.
I don't know. Whatever. It's fine. It's great. same thing.
That shit's gonna get fucked is my paraphrasing of Ian Malcolm. It's not
Yes.
just me.
Yeah.
It's not just me in general.
Yes. Well, that's like if you were to use 4 words to explain chaos theory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Put the water down, your little horn bag, Ian Malcolm, with the hand and the roll. Just say that.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I'm trying
They
to
did that in the
find
book too.
the section where
Yes.
Malcolm is talking about how technology is bullshit because with all of the advances in technology like stoves and refrigerators and everything, it still takes a person the same amount of time to clean a house.
Yeah.
Where was
Right.
that? I'm trying to look for that.
I don't know, but I got
I
another.
love
I
that.
got another Malcolm quote for you. I marked it here.
That was in
What
last
page?
week's.
Okay, it is 413.
Before we do that, though, we
Mm-hmm.
are asking a question on the polls at the moment, so you do have access to that poll. Make sure you vote. We are asking, were you shocked by the deaths in the book? Because as you know, there were different deaths
Yes.
happening in the movies. Ian
Yes.
Malcolm survives. Hammond survives. In the movie, also, Gennaro, he's gone pretty quick. He doesn't make it to the halfway mark.
I know.
Really.
Yeah.
And then I think Gennaro, he lasts a lot longer in the book.
Yeah, he does. He survives, doesn't he?
He does. To kind of like to what effect? I kind of didn't know what that character was supposed to be really,
No, I'm
because at
glad
some
he
point
died.
he's described as being muscular, and I'm like, is Michael Crichton trying to make this guy like the sort of hero of the thing? And at other times he's
Well,
described as
then he like looks at Muldoon, and Muldoon is like enormous. Like at the very
Yeah,
end, you're
it's-
like, he looks at Muldoon's like fucking the way I read it, like really hot, large, manly bod. You know, like that's how it was written.
Was it really, Amy? Was it really?
Maybe.
I mean,
Just got a crush on,
I do
Yeah.
have a crush on Muldoon, both versions of them, by the way, book and movie version. Muldoon in the movie is the best character.
Is that the same guy? It's not the same guy. No, it's completely different to the guy who played the father in Jumanji.
Yeah,
Oh.
very different. Different
I don't
actor,
remember
but
Jumanji.
similar vibes. Similar vibes. I could see that.
Oh, that's
That's
speech
kind
about
of enlightening
shirking
to what you're into.
responsibility.
Okay,
embarrassed.
don't be embarrassed. Did you want to read a Ian Malcolm
No, I
quote?
want you to read it.
Page 413.
Page 413.
It's a good quote.
No, my point is that life.
Yes. Okay, we're going to need a narrator.
I'll say he
And
said.
we're going to
I'll
need
do
page
it.
is
and we're
this
going to
one,
need a
sorry?
Hammond. 413.
I don't know if I can do it, guys. It makes it so.
You can do Hammond.
You can do
Want to do
Hammond.
Hammond?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. This will
Okay,
be good.
Hammond looked irritated.
So what is your point? That modern pollutants will be incorporated too?
No.
Malcolm said.
My point is that life on Earth can take care of itself. In the thinking of a human being, 100 years is a long time. 100 years ago, we didn't have cars and airplanes and computers and vaccines. It was a whole different world. But to the Earth, 100 years is nothing. 1,000,000 years is nothing. This planet lives and breathes on a much vaster scale. We can't imagine its slow and powerful rhythms, and we haven't got the humility to try. We have been residents here for the blink of an eye. If we are gone tomorrow, the Earth will not miss us.
And we very well might be gone.
Hammond said, huffing.
Yes,
Malcolm said.
we might.
So what are you saying? We shouldn't care about the environment?
No, of course not.
Thought infuriates me.
Yeah. No, of course not.
Then what?
Oh, then what?
Malcolm coughed and stared into the distance.
Let's be clear. The planet is not in jeopardy. We are in jeopardy. We haven't got the power to destroy the planet or to save it. But we might have the power to save ourselves.
So be clear.
You can't sing it.
I didn't.
That didn't happen.
I didn't.
If I can't sing it, nobody can.
And that's honestly, that is my problem with Ian Malcolm. It's like he talks so much, and every time someone tries to be like, "Is this the point you were making?" Then he's like, "No."
Yeah, it's frustrating.
Every single go through every big chunk of dialogue that he has. Ellie Sattler will come and be like, "Oh, so was this what you're trying to say?" He's like, "No." I'm like, why do you bother talking if you can't make a clear point?
Yeah. I did find the description of Muldoon's body. It's Gennaro is looking back at the hole at the black opening, a mouth in the earth. Then he looked at Muldoon standing there, large and impassive.
Really, large and impassive?
I mean, has it been a while?
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
I go on a lot of dates.
That's so good. I'm proud of you.
Oh, boy.
Just like panting into Muldoon's paragraph there.
Were you guys disappointed that the T-Rex didn't show up again at the end?
To save the day?
To save the day, yes, of course. Can we please hear your
slaps
T-Rex
some
impression?
raptors.
Maude, can we hear your T-Rex impression, please?
Oh, can you? Hold on. I don't know
Yes,
if
of
I've
course
got
we
it, 'cause I'm
can.
a
May
little
we?
bit- I've got a picture.
Here we go. Raptor and... The day that dinosaurs ruled the world. Exactly. That's impressive.
While doing my makeup and hair in the mirror, was listening to the kitchen scene again. I think that my Velociraptor is getting better every time.
Let's hear it.
That's
some new
amazing.
noises
Let's
as
hear
well
it.
in this one.
What'd you get this time?
This one, it's more of a with the no. Okay,
That's
it's
pretty
fine.
good. That's
I'm
pretty
doing
good. It's like a
it live.
cat.
My hands are sweaty. Mum's spaghetti. But then there's also like
She's so entertaining.
there's like a no. Get the camera off me.
Okay, there'll be another raptor that signals that
I'm
raptor and it'll go like this.
There's it's more of like a yap actually. Yeah, not bad.
Sounds
I feel like I did something to
That
my
would probably
voice.
turn Muldoon on actually.
Muldoon's awesome.
Clever girl. Muldoon's awesome. Really?
All right, my dating story. Someone actually said
Gosh.
clever girl to me in the bedroom.
Did they? Yes!
And I'm like,
Did you sneak up on him? Is that what happened? Did you sneak up on him? That's what happened?
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
Another one of you was
could not. I was like, who says that?
That's
And how
great.
do I not be a Velociraptor right now?
Do it. Be a velociraptor. And now Maude is this. Her face is the same color as her blouse. Look at that.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
A long time ago.
Do you like this is also towards the end of the book, but where Alan Grant, your cosplay character, scolds Gennaro on finally taking responsibility.
Yes, he's a
Yeah, that was
coward.
good, but it was misplaced.
You think so?
I mean, yeah, I think that wasn't Gennaro just like in the movie? He's like a lawyer who represents the investors. He's a lawyer,
The
right?
lawyer in the movie, the Gennaro that we saw, was amazing because he goes on this self-righteous, no, you don't understand. We've got investors breathing down the neck, and I get to say if this doesn't go ahead. And trust me, my God, we will make millions and billions of dollars. Like, and you just see that he's consumed by greed.
Sure.
And I kind of love how they made Gennaro in the movies. I thought it was everything. He's almost like the villain.
Is that
And there's
heavy?
this-
If it's heavy, it's expensive. Put it down.
Exactly. And there's another moment where Hammond is just, they're all having a conversation, and, Ian Malcolm's like, no, it's not going to work. This is all shit.
Yeah.
Alan Grant, he's like, well, actually, this is not going to go so well. Ellie Sattler, no, this is actually not going to work. And he goes, isn't it funny that I've brought you all here to be on my side, and the only person is this blood-sucking lawyer.
And I hate lawyers.
Thank you, John. He goes, thank you, John.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot, but it is a perfect description of that character, and in that way, to me, he's kind of an innocent. Do you know what I mean? Because he doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's like
Hammond isn't fueled by greed, and that is usually a trait of a villain. I don't think it's greed from him. It's the breakthrough. It's the whole thing. Just because you could didn't mean that you should. It's the fact that he can, so he will.
The book Hammond is a little.
He keeps on fantasizing though, and this isn't sexual, but he keeps fantasizing about children going like this to the dinosaurs. Like
Sure.
that's his fantasy that keeps replaying in his head, is the children going, you know.
That's book Hammond you're talking about.
Yeah,
and
that
it's like,
fantasy replays and replays and replays.
And I don't know if I buy it, but I also get that as a motivation. I just it was just tough for me to like nail down book Hammond a little bit. Movie Hammond I get. Movie Hammond I
was
get.
perfect.
What's that? Movie Hammond was
maybe Gennaro
perfect.
was perfect. Maybe Alan Grant
And
was
there was
perfect.
enough of book Hammond in movie Hammond that I could see, especially the conversation with the ice
I feel like
cream.
they're very different.
Well, yeah, but little hints
Game Wizard
of
001. Gennaro film is Ed Regis in the book.
Yes.
Gennaro in book is exactly how people would react. He tells a guy to go down a hole to count eggshells when they'll be blown up anyway.
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
Regis
Okay,
doesn't
let's
even exist
Let's put a pin
in
in
the
that for a
movie.
second, because just to go back to the book versus movie Hammond. Movie Hammond is a sweet old man, and I buy him more as a Walt Disney type who actually would want the kids to be at his park, and he loves his grandchildren. He's like, kids, like, I get that.
Yeah.
But there still was that scene where he's like, next time it'll be perfect. Next time, if we could just regain control. And Ellie's like, John, you never had control. That's happening in the movie, and that to me is enough of the book Hammond kind of sprinkled in there, so to where like movie Hammond, you could still point to him and be like, this guy's evil because he doesn't know what he was doing. And it was so arrogant of him to think otherwise.
That's not an evil thing to make a mistake. It's just on a larger scale because he has so
what I'm
much
going to
money.
equate this to. There was a guy who was middle-aged and had gone through a couple of divorces, and he wrote a musical of his life, which he painted as his side of the story. This is why I divorced my wife. Look how shitty they are. The women characters were just unlikable. But however, even though he wrote all that, he still came off badly. Like, because the truth, even from his point of view.
There.
And because he was rich, he made this musical happen with his own money.
Yeah.
There was no one there to check him. There was no one there to be like, so this story, what the fuck is going on?
You don't look
but
good.
like, if you have everything, if you were like the one who points the finger and the one who writes the checks, like there's no checks and balances. And I think, and then you just are left with trash, which I guess arguably isn't.
That is Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
that's absolutely Jurassic Park.
Malcolm's. That's
It's so
Malcolm's.
Well, you
sad
had
because-
Wu being like, dude, you used to listen to me. You no
In the
longer
book.
listen
Yep,
to me.
yep.
Like, this is what's going down. We do not have control. Like, this is so out of, we're out of our depth, like here.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need to make these particular changes. And he's like, no.
In the movie, that's Malcolm and Sattler and Grant a little bit, but mostly Malcolm is the guy that is confronting Hammond and going, you wait until the park's open to hire 3 experts to come and tell you should not have done this to begin with. Like, that's kind of messed up. And so Hammond movie is out of his depth. And it is a very interesting question. It's like, is that evil because of him knowing, or rather not knowing, the power that he was going to be able to hold?
And
like, is that evil, or is it ignorance? Or
It's
is
ignorance.
sometimes
And I don't think
ignorance
that
evil?
I don't think that they are synonymous.
Yeah.
They're not synonymous, but they're not also mutually exclusive. Like they definitely can go hand in hand.
That's a good way to put
They
it.
can.
Yeah.
I just don't think it is in this instance.
In which one,
movie
book
Hammond.
or movie Hammond?
Either? Both?
A little bit of
Both.
both. His ignorance is far outweighing. He's not an evil person.
Here's the one sentence where I feel like Book Hammond is for sure evil to me. The one sentence which was, I would never want to help humanity.
I don't remember that.
When he discusses how the sort of like scientific and technological advances, the reason that some succeed and some fail is that like the ones that fail are the ones that try to help humanity, and the ones that succeed are like money oriented or whatever. He goes, I would never want to help humanity. Like, I want to do this.
Gotcha.
And when that sentence was in there, I feel like that was Crichton going, no, this guy,
He's
this is the bad side of somebody like a Walt Disney.
Right.
Who might not see the bad that comes with
But then there was like a whole argument when
commercializing.
Ian Malcolm was saying, we just read the paragraph there where it was like, the Earth is going to be fine.
Sure.
It's humanity that's going to die.
Yeah.
And in that instance, Hammond was fighting for, what was consuming his mind was the fact that the human race is at, is the one that's going to be
but
doomed.
also,
So he is defending humanity.
is he defending humanity or himself? Because it seems like he's like, fuck, I could get into some trouble, and then I'll be put away because of how many people my thing has killed. I still think that argument was a little versus him versus humanity still.
Here we are, Jolly the Grey. Ignorance isn't evil, but willful ignorance might be.
And
I think
Hammond might fall into that a little bit.
I
into
think
that
he,
willful
because there are
ignorance.
people trying
Yes.
to
in the beginning of the
educate
stages,
him.
he could have went and talked to paleontologists and stuff in the beginning, but
And
instead,
he did, and Malcolm did. Like we go into this knowing that Malcolm
in book
already
version, sure.
In book version,
in book
yeah.
version, movie version, there's no like, there's no Jurassic Park prequel,
Backstory,
thank God,
yeah.
backstory where we get to see him just like designing the park and
We just see
recruiting
Gennaro
Wu.
like traveling and visiting people,
Yeah,
being like,
like-
"What do you think?"
Yeah, no.
We actually have another poll up at the moment. A lot of death happened in this particular book. Which one hit you the hardest when reading it, though? Was it John Hammond? 0%. Oh, that's karma for you. Was it Ian Malcolm, which is floating around 78% at the
Wow,
moment?
yeah.
The Raptors, plural, there was about 6, weren't there? That
There's
all
a bunch and a whole like 2
14%.
nests or whatever.
And then the T-Rex.
How did the T-Rex die?
That, I forget. And I don't know either.
What? He died?
Oh, with it like a rocket at the T-Rex or something?
No,
I think
I
you're
know
right.
that Muldoon shot him twice, and then
Yeah.
it didn't penetrate, and it kept
But
going, and then it maybe fell under the effects. And it drowned.
Oh, that's right. And they were like,
Yeah,
"He's going
because
to be
it-
fine. He'll." But it was just tranks, weren't they? Just
Tranks, but then he
then
went
it
underwater.
drowned in the river.
Yeah, and then
Okay.
Muldoon had to almost go back and pull it out from
Gotcha.
drowning because the T-Rex
It took him
was
an
so
hour to go down.
expensive.
I feel like my answer would be Hammond, only because the way that death scene was described was pretty gnarly, as opposed to Dr. Ian Malcolm was just like, oh, he died on the table. And it was like, that one, and again, I feel like that 75% of us saying that is just because we love Jeff Goldblum. And when we read the book, we're like, oh, Dr. Ian Malcolm died? It's like, well, it's not movie Malcolm, it's book Malcolm.
Well, it
who's a
was
different
shocking
character.
to me. Like, it was more shocking. I was like, but because also Ian Malcolm stayed alive for a long time
long
while
time.
he's dying. So
And
I was
he seemed like he was on the up and up.
He's gonna stay alive. He's gonna like.
Maybe if he shut up, he would actually
Yes.
live. Maybe like
Exactly.
he's so worked up that his blood is pumping harder
Yeah.
and he's losing more blood. Anyway.
But he's
But
over
John
here.
Hammond, like I said, it was very shocking to me because I was like, 1 minute he's fine, then he like fucking goes for a walk. Like, it's so out of left field to me. I'm like,
was.
Oh yeah, you just.
That's what.
I'm gonna get some
what-
air in
mere
my park
paragraphs.
that's in turmoil.
That, yes, that
Yeah.
was weird.
Yeah.
That was
And that's
bad.
why I almost agree with your point that it could have been an editor's note because it was just
Maybe.
kind of tacked on to the end.
It was tacked on.
Hey, yeah, can
Let's
we
talk
get
about-
can we get a Hammond to just kick over and die?
Yeah, it's
Crichton was like, all right.
The
he's gonna-
cigars in the
I guess
mouth.
he'll go for a walk. Sure, his grandkids are missing and
Yeah.
everybody, and Malcolm's
Yeah.
dying. He'll just go for a walk and get eaten by
Yeah,
compies.
look, that's my note. I'm a good editor.
Great, I'm Michael Crichton.
There is one thing that Dr. Ian Malcolm did say that I respected, and I put it in our little alpha chat that we
Mm-hmm.
have, and that was his analogy when he's trying to explain to Hammond that you didn't earn this.
It's so
you
good.
bought it.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he goes, to get a black belt in karate, you have to go through
Mm-hmm.
all the stages and you need to train.
Yes.
And then you're rewarded with it. And when you finally get your black belt, you are old enough to not want to kill with your new skills,
Mm-hmm.
that you have the wisdom that you obtained alongside with the skill.
Yes.
Because it's that investment that you
Such-
earned. And then when I think the clearest moment that he said out of all that drizzle that was coming out of his mouth was, you can't buy a black belt.
Right.
And I just
Mm-hmm.
was like, the black belt is the park. And you just
Yes.
bought science. You didn't
Yeah,
earn this
you're
science.
right.
So that was a moment where I was just like, there you go,
Yeah.
Ian, you did it. You just
Yeah.
said it. And then he,
Yeah.
for 9 minutes talked about that analogy.
Yeah,
Right.
I love every Malcolm monologue for that reason, is because there's like 3 or 4 gems in there, sentences that Michael Crichton writes, and you're like, God damn it, that's so good. That's
that's
so
all
good.
that was
and those
needed.
tiny
Yes.
little gems they're put in the movie, and
Yes.
then we have
Yes,
to deal with
that's
the
why the
rest
movie
of it.
is so great.
it is so great.
all quality. It's
is so
all
great.
killer, no filler,
And man,
pun
look,
intended.
the end of
with
the
killer.
movie, the end of the movie is everybody gets away from the T-Rex, from the raptors, and they leave the island. Except at the end of the book, they hang out because they're like, well, we have to go find the raptors.
Oh my God, that killed
it
me.
kept going.
Oh my
it
God.
kept
We're
going.
safe, we're alive.
Responsibility. And I'm like, what?
I was
what
like,
are we
guys,
doing?
leave and come back later. Like,
They had to count eggs.
Yeah, no.
Not even full eggs, broken
Yeah.
eggs that may or may not have
They had
been.
to check off to
Yeah.
see who's still there. And I was
Yeah.
just like, come on,
I'm
you
like,
are
that's-
alive. Your
that's book
life
2.
is actually more important.
That's book 2. Don't, to have the Costa Rican government come in and like firebomb it. I'm like, that's.
And it felt like honestly, that climax of like, we're all safe. And it's like, great. And then it's like, oh, now we have another task. It's like, no,
Yeah, you don't have another task.
No,
you guys
you
are safe.
don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that really bugged
And
me.
then they just kind of fly off. I don't know. The ending was like, oh my God, it's over.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
No, I feel
crazy.
like the ending dragged on.
It
like
did.
having to go down this slide, drop through a dark
that's
hole.
my point. I thought this was gonna go somewhere. Like, okay,
Right.
well, we're
Yeah.
doing this adventure.
We
Great.
follow the
And then it's
raptors
like,
onto the
oh,
beach.
yeah,
but then
on the
the
beach, and they
raptors-
want to migrate. They're ready to leave.
I'm sorry,
You
but
know,
we just hear about how they are predatory, how they
Right.
fuck with people, how they are intelligent, and then all of a sudden they're in a nest,
and they're like leaving these people.
and it's like, you're not important.
right.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's food.
Oh yeah,
food has
Mama
fallen.
Bear is gonna feed the kids, but she's not interested.
Now here's the thing.
But they're looking at like pack formation. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
you should be so dead.
Yeah.
You should get out of there. But I love the idea of all of that stuff. I just
No.
feel like I wish Crichton addressed
Oh,
it
Lee,
in his
well
story.
done. Lee had his
ad-
black belt at 10.
Address it in his story in a different way. Is that true?
Yeah.
That's
In
impressive, Lee.
what though? In what?
Taekwondo.
Yeah. So
Pretty good.
Taekwondo is
Oh,
like
it's not
posing.
it's not karate.
Oh, well, it's not
Whoa.
called Taekwondo.
I bet. I feel like, is that a challenge to Lee? Are you trying to kick Lee's ass right now?
I'm just
challenge
saying,
him?
it's posing. Am
Yes.
I wrong? It's posing. It's dancing.
I like Stay Peaceful 89 said, are there any scientists in the chat? What did you think of Ian Malcolm's rants? Because for me, it's like, if we're going in a direction of educating and actually learning and
Yeah.
inspiring, but like everything that he goes on about, it's like, so hold on, is this your point? Am I following? No, you're not.
It's all
no
ethics.
one's following.
It's all ethics and philosophy, and maybe I'm out of my depth,
How
but I
is
feel
science
like
and philosophy partnered in this?
they must be. Absolutely.
For him, like
they
if it's
must,
a chaos theory, sure, but like the
But-
clarity just doesn't exist.
They must go hand in hand, and I feel like maybe not everything is clear on purpose.
Sorry, I'm
maybe.
having an adult tantrum right now. If you could respect that.
What? Why?
Why?
What's wrong?
Don't make me do it.
What? Why are you having an?
Ian Malcolm's drizzle. Verbal like he had verbal diarrhea with no point. His verbal diarrhea was trickling through everyone's fingers and no one could grasp it.
I'm going to disagree
least
with you. When he
shoot
got on
heavy
his
turds.
tangents, I actually really enjoyed
I liked a
that.
lot of them, and then it was
Yeah.
like he's dying, and everyone's still
Yes.
confused, and no one's actually wanting to listen. And it's like, honestly, it's cost him his life to be right.
I agree with
Yeah,
you.
but that's the thing. It cost him his life to be right.
Yeah.
That's the whole character, is that he's...
Chaos theory should somehow, the solution should be survival, surely. Because otherwise, it's like chaos theory, everyone dies every time. Chaos theory, this is all the things that could go wrong, will go wrong, we're doomed. What?
Yeah.
yeah.
But
actually, yeah.
Then why the fuck does he bother?
Because
he's
I
a
think
nihilist?
it's an argument of like why
'Cause he's
a nihilist, but
realistic?
it's also like academics do
That's
that.
why he's got
They like
3
to-
ex-wives.
Yes,
No
but
one
the,
can put up with his shit.
Yeah.
but people who are
Prepare for the
academics
worst.
love to categorize something, even the thing which is in the book.
you cannot categorize.
It's not categorizable. It's not
Yeah.
quantifiable. It's chaos theory,
Yeah.
which doesn't. You're right. It just doesn't mean anything. Meanwhile, he's trying to argue for it, and you're like,
But you're not even making sense.
It's
and
not
it's my
that it
favorite
doesn't
thing.
make sense,
Gennaro,
it's-
every time, he's like, all right, I'm going to explain this to you. Are you following? Not at all. Like, every time.
yeah, everyone's
Yeah.
learned to like.
And Gennaro is the audience, like, is the reader. Because
Yes.
he's going on this
Yes, he
tangent,
is.
and you're like,
He's the
I don't
family
understand.
man,
It's like,
he's-
Gennaro, you tapped in? And he's like,
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
little bit. And he's like, all right, let me try
Even
to explain
Hammond
this
is
in another
like-
way. I'm like,
Even Hammond is like,
Start there.
he lost me. He just lost me when he goes on these tangents.
yeah,
and
but Hammond is also mutual parts, like, I don't understand and I refuse to understand.
it's willful ignorance. I feel
Willful,
like
yeah.
if anybody is trying to enter the scientific field, I feel like this should be mandatory reading, as just a
Yeah.
fun romp. But also, if there are students in school that are like studying any field of science, to read this and actually think about some ethical questions of like, yeah, you know what, you're right. How do we look at science today? What does it do to the world? What is it? Especially if you're in tech. My God, we've been mentioning this over and over and over again. All
Right.
of these advancements in technology that actors on the show Silicon Valley are like, hey, Silicon Valley, calm down. You need to have some checks and balances because this
Yeah.
could lead to bad things.
But it's so
Right,
funny that we are
right.
saying that the advancement of technology, and yet this book was written in the late 80s, early
and
90s.
it still
and it's-
applies.
Thank you.
It's
Yeah.
still relevant, and it
Yeah.
sucks how relevant it is. It sucks how relevant some of those nuggets in Malcolm's tangents are, because they're still because
belt.
it's essentially Michael Crichton yelling at the world, going, "Get your shit together,"
Yes.
when it pertains
destroying
to science,
everything.
and that hasn't happened yet. That hasn't happened
Yeah.
yet.
I understand that scientists want the glory of the discovery.
Sure.
The could,
Sure.
not the should. Like, literally, science is could.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Elon Musk.
Yes.
he can. Should he? Probs not. But he is.
Yeah.
Yep.
there are tons of
and
moguls
everyone,
out there.
And all you had to do was say Elon Musk, and I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Exactly.
I know exactly what he's working on because
Scary.
it's that notoriety, it's the fame that's associated with it. And someone in the comments mentioned that Hammond wanted that fame associated with being the guy who did it.
Open the park first.
Yep.
I like my Tony Starks to stay in the comic books or in the movies, okay? That's where I like my Tony Stark to live. Just the ending I felt like it did drag for me. Now, having said all of that, and with my sort of issues, especially when you compare it to the much tighter and just more concise and makes more sense movie, compared to Michael Crichton's brilliant ideas, but I don't think it's maybe the best story to have those ideas kind of lock into place. I'm still in love with all of Crichton's ideas. I still want to go read The Lost World, which is the sequel book to this book, where Ian Malcolm turns out he was alive, and he comes back and he's the lead of that book. Yep.
You can't.
I cannot wait to read it.
What?
I cannot. He's just going to be like, guys, you left me on the island. I was fine. I don't know.
Is this the Steve Trevor of like the 90s?
Maybe. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984. No, I cannot. And I'm sure there are people in the chat that have read The Lost World.
That was way too quick after like a full glass of wine.
I want to go read it. I don't know if, going back to Jeff Goldblum, it feels like Michael Crichton wrote this character for actor Jeff Goldblum. It's so perfect. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know.
I can't see, most books I can actually substitute and like recast, and there's no recasting.
Nobody else.
Oh my gosh, I just realized the movie never ever sorted out the conundrum with the Indian seeds, the foliage that was poisoning the Triceratops.
That's true.
They never resolved that.
Did they resolve in the book?
Yes, 100%. She figured out that what was happening, the pods from the seeds from the plants were falling onto the rocks, and they ate rocks every 6 weeks.
That's right, to churn their stomachs or whatever. So it's happening every 6 weeks.
Expel it and then eat it again, which is why it only ever happened. Yeah, and I actually like that mini mystery within the book. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then I noticed, like in the movie, I was like, she's in the shit. She's going to figure this out, and she's like thinking and going over it in her head, and then it was.
Wait, she doesn't solve it?
No.
She entertains it. It's put forward.
Yeah, she goes, it might be these plants, but there's not like a definitive.
And I only know that because I've read the book now.
Which is cool. And it's like, again, even though we're missing that from the movie, I don't think it's like a plot hole. I'm not necessarily mad.
No, you would never have known. But like the fact that they filmed the water scene, they probably filmed the resolution of that as well.
They probably did. But
didn't you see the
I saw all the special features, man.
Did you see those deleted?
No, not those deleted scenes.
Want them.
But there was a deleted scene that was a storyboard that they never shot, and Stan Winston Studios started to work on the animatronic, which was a baby Triceratops.
That's right,
was going to come through and poke Lex as she was walking towards the other Triceratops, like a little baby one was going to, and it looked real cute. And they had to save that for Jurassic World when the kids were riding on the, remember that?
Yeah.
On the little petting zoo?
Yeah. That was cute.
Only because this is the last week that I can say it. I interviewed Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard for the new Jurassic Park Lost World.
Have they read the books?
Movie. I didn't ask them that.
Oh, that's okay.
That's when I just started reading the books, actually. But I did ask them what would be the worst way to die in the Jurassic world.
In relating to a dinosaur.
Because there's some gnarly ways that it happens could happen in the movie, not involving dinosaurs, and that's what spurred the question. But Chris Pratt said, Chris Pratt kind of said how John Hammond died, and that would be
compies
to be eaten in small bites.
Pieces, yeah.
That's it. Whereas Bryce Dallas Howard said she would hate to be ripped from limb to limb, which is what happened to Arnold. And
yes, correct.
They toss him. Oh my gosh. And then they don't explain in the book.
Nedry has the.
Oh yeah,
which they mentioned,
and the poison,
like
the blinding of the eyes too, which is pretty crazy.
But they mentioned in the beginning, and the movie did such a good job of Alan Grant being a dinosaur expert. He knows to freeze when the T-Rex is there.
Which,
right at the beginning.
I want to point out, I think science has disproven that.
Really?
Since the movie's come out, they've looked at it.
Tell Drunk Maud that, because when I was about legal drinking age in Australia at a party, I was so drunk, the CD kept skipping. That's CD. Shit, aging myself. It kept skipping.
You had a vintage CD player.
And I was hitting it, and this girl stomps up to me, and she's like, "Are you touching the music?" And I froze.
Like you were like, she can't see me.
And if I don't move, she can't see me. And she's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm not gonna move." And I was convinced.
Maude.
Did it work? What happened?
So one of the first things that Java
What happened? Did it work?
No, not even a little
you got
bit.
into
She's
an
like,
altercation.
what the
Yes.
hell are you doing?
Of course.
So I had to wrap her out of it.
Not gonna work.
But Java Book Geek Girl said, which of the hosts would survive a dinosaur attack, or which one will get attacked first? I actually think I would survive because I know
Okay.
in my
Well,
subconscious to freeze at T-Rex.
I know that was apparently a fiction that was created for the book and the
I
movie,
like it.
and that scientists, and maybe I'm wrong, I remember reading somewhere in my last 20 years of life that scientists have actually now landed on the side of, you know what, T-Rex probably had an amazing sense of smell.
Oh, okay.
So they're like, the standing still thing wouldn't work. They believe now that T-Rex hunted
the
based
smell,
on the
for
sense of
sure.
smell. So
Fun Cooker also said that there was a cut scene with the Triceratops where they were feeding her rocks to help with the digestion. And if you look closely in some of the shots, you can actually see Tim holding rocks.
Oh, cool.
That's really cool.
That is cool.
We are also asking you what your favorite dinosaur is. I love this question. Diplodocus is
great-
not on there, or Diplodocus as I've discovered it's called. That's fine.
Triceratops.
We've got
in the
T-Rex,
lead.
Stegosaurus, Triceratops, Velociraptor, a Brachiosaurus, or an other, which you could put Diplodocus in if that's so suits.
I love that they in the movie she calls it a trike, and then I knew that
The
that was a
Triceratops, yeah.
Triceratops because it just made me feel real smart. 'Cause she
Also,
said,
this is
I'll
a-
stay with the trike. And
This
I'm
is an
like,
incredibly important comment. Lee in the chat says it was so much better in 3D. Let me hear it.
oh,
Yeah, we watched Jurassic Park in 3D.
we sure did.
It was awesome.
Yes.
Amy got so scared when
I
the
got
raptor
really
came through. Remember when the
scared.
raptor at the end came through the little thing and it looked like it was popping out of the TV?
Yeah, that was really
When
scary.
it was like-
Also, Lee commented before that y'all convinced me that Muldoon survived, and I was like, totally.
Yeah.
No, I see that's the thing in the movie. It's like I kind of you saw the raptor eat his face through the ferns and the fronds. I kind of wish you saw the slicing motion
Sure.
that was foreshadowed by Alan Grant.
Sure.
I kind of like that he's like he'll slice you there,
Yeah.
or there, to scare the kid.
Yep.
Did you guys read that fan theory that kid who's like they're not even that scary, they're just like a big turkey.
Yeah.
And then Alan fucks with his mind.
Yeah.
That's actually Chris Pratt's
He
character.
grew up to be Chris Pratt's character. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. No.
I kind of love it. All
He
right,
just became a
coming in.
dinosaur expert.
The winner at the moment, the loser actually, is the Brachiosaurus. Sorry for all you tall folks out
That's
there.
okay.
That sucks. And then it's the Stego. And then in tie, it's the Velociraptor and the T-Rexes. Other, we don't even count. But the winner is Triceratops.
Yeah. Everybody loves a
The
trike.
trike. The trike.
We told Amy that Muldoon lived because Amy was falling in love with Muldoon throughout the movie, and then she was like, "No, wait, does he die?" And we were like, "Amy, he's in the Lost World Jurassic Park, like he's in the sequel."
And I was like,
and
oh,
she was
that's
like,
right.
he is?
Okay.
"No."
But I was.
But we were like, "She's in the Lost World," and she was like,
Okay,
"Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah."
Hold on,
Like,
Ian
she was like,
Malcolm
yeah,
can die on
yeah.
the table and come back in a book.
Apparently.
How?
But I don't.
Did they
I think.
explain how?
Apparently, I haven't read it yet. I'm gonna
Tell
go
me
get it. I
straight
think they
away.
will, but I'm curious, and I think this is how the order of operations happened. Steven Spielberg bought the rights to Jurassic Park, the
Yeah.
book, and then as they were making the movie, or maybe when the movie was done in '93. Because I don't know when The Lost World came out. Somebody look it up and tell me what year the book The Lost World came out, because the movie came out in '97.
And Game
I
Wizard
think-
001 is saying that Lost World actor refuted that claim about the being still in the book, that Malcolm said that Grant was full of crap.
There we go. 1995 was the book. So yeah, after the first movie comes out, I think Spielberg assigned Michael Crichton, "Hey, we need you to write the sequel to the book
Money,
we're doing
money.
the sequel to the movie."
Yeah.
And Sam Neill's not coming back, but Jeff Goldblum is, because he
Why
was a
would
breakout
Sam Neill
character.
not?
I don't know.
He's what, 48
Maybe
in
the
this
studio
stage?
picked Jeff Goldblum. Like, Jeff Goldblum's the breakout character of the movie. So, but then Crichton was probably like, "Dude, I killed him at the end of my book," and Spielberg was like, "I don't care. I'm Steven Spielberg. Like,
Totally.
Yeah.
figure out a way to bring him
That
back." So he was like,
tracks.
"Okay." So that's probably what happened. I think.
because I did
interested.
after that. I watched all the movies.
Yeah.
Last
What's your
week.
ranking, including
I
Jurassic
know,
World:
you
Fallen
guys,
Kingdom?
I know you guys are gonna be mad at me,
Go ahead.
but I was getting really
Jurassic Park's
defensive
the best.
on Jurassic Park is the best.
Thank you. I don't care what the rest of your ranking
Okay,
is.
great.
Go.
Then JP3, then Lost World, then Lost World Fallen Kingdom, and then fucking Jurassic World, then Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and then Lost World. Lost
Wait,
World
you
is
lost me. You lost
I'm
World
sorry.
me. Number one, Jurassic Park. Number
Yep.
two,
Jurassic Park 3.
Number three,
Jurassic World.
Number four,
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
and number five.
Lost World
Lost
2.
Jurassic
World,
Park.
Jurassic Park.
Wow.
One. Okay.
Which
Okay.
these titles are doing no one any favors.
Hold on. So Vince Vaughn and
Yes, Julianne Moore.
the worst.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's why. I actually dig the children's stories in these. I thought that Ian Malcolm's daughter as a child had the worst storyline for a child. I also found some of those disjointed, and even though the cliff sequence is about
It's
T-Rexes,
really cool. Yeah.
it bored me. It was just so much tension for
Jurassic
so
Park
long.
3 is fun.
Jurassic, and that one is like the cliff
in that
sequence.
one?
It's just a
Sam Neill
bus,
comes
a
back.
cable.
Oh, he does?
For Jurassic Park 2. Have you
Yeah.
not seen the Jurassic Park sequels, Maude?
Yeah, I mean, long time
That's
ago.
why it was a long time
And
for
it
me
was-
too. I didn't
Yeah.
remember them, but they're going there to save a kid,
Right.
and the kid has survived on the island for
It's
3
so
weeks.
dumb. He collected T-Rex pee.
T-Rex pee as bombs.
And Alan Grant's like, how did you get this? And the kid's like,
grenades.
you don't want to know. It's dumb. It's really funny, but it's dumb.
Yeah,
It reminds me of
it's
the movie Land of the Lost, starring Will Ferrell
never
and
saw
Danny
that.
McBride,
I never
which
saw
was a
that.
straight comedy, and I thought it was really funny. And Matt Lauer can suck it, and that's part of the movie, and I thought that was great. But in that, Will Ferrell's character does collect hadrosaur urine, and he pours it on himself to try
Which
to blend
one's
in.
the hadrosaur again?
I don't remember. The duck one. And
thank you.
It's really funny and gross. But I like Land of the Lost.
Where does
really good.
Land Before Time come in on this then?
Number 1, baby. Number 1.
Yeah, Land Before
1980,
Time's
what is it,
pretty great.
1987, I think? The Land Before Time?
Poor
1988?
Petrie.
The best. Love that.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right, guys, a bit of housekeeping. First, we're going to be dark next week due to American Independence Day, which...
Not my country.
As
So don't blame me that we're going.
As my co-host on Alpha Comic Book Club said last night, Ashley Esqueda, maybe America's last Independence Day of all. So we're going to celebrate it next week. I was like, that's great. And it's also the premiere of the First Purge. That's right. That's our future Purge. It's coming soon. Just a couple more years. That's all it's going to take, folks. Just kidding. It's for the 4th of July.
I don't wanna be
Basically,
here
well, you know, we gotta find a panic room. We have to figure that out. Maybe I'll just fly to Australia for that Purge week, for that Purge day, so we don't have to deal with that. But we will be back July 11th with Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. That's Harry Potter book 4.
Already crying.
So it's time
Here are
to
the
announce.
books.
You got them? Give me one.
Here's one.
Yeah. Ooh,
Look
these
how
are
thick
thick
this
boys.
is.
Thick boys.
That's all
Yeah.
I got.
2
You know what?
C's.
That's all.
Dang, this is
People-
a lot.
people-
Hold on, let's
not
have a
kidding.
look at the last one. This
Yes.
is the prisoner.
You can look at all three of them.
That side by
people,
side.
People were not
right
kidding.
Here.
I have these 3 on my shelves, and everyone's telling me, dude, book 4 is when it steps it up a notch. I was like, okay, we'll see.
that one on
Look at that. Look at that crap. You kidding me?
That's a thick book.
It's a thick boy. 2 C's right there. Now, it's time to announce our homework. Read the first part of Harry Potter and the
I
Goblet of Fire.
already know what
happens.
happens. I know what happens.
What are you doing?
Smelling it.
Okay, cool. Stop at the beginning of chapter 12, the Tri-Wizard Tournament.
I already know what happens in this book. I've read it so many times, guys.
Okay, and that in our editions is
the
page number
Quidditch World Cup, guys.
171.
Quidditch World Cup.
Oh, Amy. No.
Why does this look like an intimate moment with Muldoon?
That's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Also, guys, don't forget we're on Goodreads. Search Alpha Book Club and come discuss books with us. I've got the most read on my list. No big deal. Thank you so much for the applause. Also, if you haven't,
Wait.
where are you going, Maude? Where are you going? Are you gonna do the bit?
I haven't done it yet.
You haven't done it yet? Okay, here we go. And here's Maude's impression of Laura Dern, Dr. Ellie Sattler from Jurassic
the 20,
Park.
20 more seconds.
They came out in the year 1993. Iconic film, changed the face of cinema and imprinted itself onto a generation. Lo and behold, here is Dr. Ellie Sattler in the 3rd act of the film. Running.
Run!
Also, if you haven't, tell a friend to sign up for 60 free days on Alpha by using the promo code PADFOOT. That's from Harry Potter. If you're interested in joining us via Skype on the show, let us know on Twitter at JoinTeamAlpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club. And Lost the Numbers, a.k.a. Lee, is going to get you all set up. Woo. Make sure you send us your book recommendations to at Nerdist, at Geek and Sundry, or at JoinTeamAlpha with the hashtag Alpha Book Club, because we need a book after Harry Potter 4.
Hey,
right?
and shout out to Game Wizard, who is wearing Geek Bomb's Jurassic Park shirt as well, which says Life Finds a Way. You should have been on Skype to show that one off.
Oh, that
we'll
would
get you
be
next
great.
week, though.
Amy, where can people find you on the internet?
I am at Vorpahl Sword on Instagram and Twitter. That's where you can find me.
That's great.
Not
Vorpahl
Vorpahl's
Sword.
Not Vorpahl's word. It's Vorpahl Sword, as in Snickers snack.
What?
What?
It's the Vorpahl sword in the Jabberwocky.
Oh, the Jabberwocky.
Well, I mean, it's
Alice in
the
Wonderland.
name that keeps giving, really. Don't fight it. Just understand that it could be Vorpahl's word.
Okay.
It could be.
Vorpahl sword, we'll take your word for it. You got it. Okay. Sure thing. There we go. There's Maude Garrett, and I'm on the internet as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
I'm sorry, it's not Maude Garrett, it's Dr. Ellie Sattler.
It's Dr. Ellie Sattler, at Dr. Ellie Sattler. And thank you guys again, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Read up to chapter 12. Stop there, page 171, I think. And we'll see you guys then. Bye.
Bye.